As part of efforts to boost intra-African trade and promote the diversification of African economies, Afreximbank is bridging gaps around trade information and facilitation services across the African continent and the Caribbean. Now, this is the very first edifice of its kind here on the continent, the Abuja Afreximbank African Trade Center. Hello there, and welcome to the commissioning of this $120 million facility here in Abuja, Nigeria, which is expected to serve as the trade and investment gateway for Nigeria to the rest of Africa and beyond. I'm David Alabi. Welcome to the show. A media briefing prior to the official commissioning provides background to the concept of the Afreximbank African Trade Centers, especially at a time of shifting global economic dynamics. Feedback on the groundbreaking ceremony of the $180 million Barbados AATC, the first to be established outside Africa, also serves as an anchor for what's to come.
Our board of directors took a bold commitment in 2018 to actually authorize the establishment of what we call the AATC in acronym, where you are today, to bridge the gap of information, to bridge the gap of information on trade, on investment.
We are setting up these trade services hubs across Africa that are going to transform Africa's trade, and that will happen through the provision of a suite of trade services, trade finance, business facilities, and a whole range of other services that will bridge the trade and market information gap, and that will help contribute to higher levels of intra and extra African trade.
There will be a similar AATC that is dedicated to French-speaking West Africa, and a network of AATCs across the continent to really focus on specific needs of the different sub-regions. As he rightly said, I think the Africa Trade Center that is also going to be commissioned later this year in Harare, Zimbabwe, and we have the regional chief operating officer here with us to cover Southern Africa, right? So the real idea is, as needs are specific, it is really to respond to the challenges and the needs of the regions and the sub-regions where we have concerns and where we have business.
The media team gets a first sneak peek and tour of the Abuja AATC, a twin tower covering over 31,000 square meters, housing an innovation hub, conference and exhibition centers, and a business hotel, among other features, consolidating the space as a one-stop shop to support Africa's trade ecosystem. A ribbon cutting and plaque unveiling ceremony marks the official commissioning of the facility, hosting members of diplomatic corps, development partners and stakeholders in Africa's trade value chain. A welcome address by Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment recognizes the leadership of the President of Afreximbank, Professor Rama, in accelerating trade renaissance on the continent, while highlighting the impact of the over $140 billion disbursed into key initiatives in Africa, which sees Nigeria as the largest recipient.
We look forward to working even closer with you in partnership to operationalize Nigeria's leadership in the AFCFTA Digital Trade Championship, supporting exporters through platforms like the Nigerian Commodity Exchange and Quality Infrastructure Project, enhancing coordination with Afreximbank on trade intelligence, digital trade, and industrial development, promoting innovation and collaboration with the private sector for sustainable growth and job creation. So together with Afreximbank, we're already co-creating the future through real-time trade intelligence systems, support for food security, and capacity building across value chains from textiles to technology. So in conclusion, this is a call to boldness. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we commission the Afreximbank African Trade Center, let us recommit ourselves to building a future where Africa is not just a participant in global trade, but a leader and a powerhouse.
Goodwill messages embody Afreximbank's role in shaping Africa's trade landscape and capture the essence of the Abuja AATC.
Today we see the future of Africa. Today we see telling the world that Barbados and Africa and all of the rest coming together, look out world, Africa is strong and we are on the rise. I am also happy today to say that very soon in Barbados, there will be also an AATC. And I look forward to the day when after we had the groundbreaking, next you will have a commissioning of the AATC in Barbados as well.
Zimbabwe reaffirms its commitment to the bank's sterling efforts in promoting trade and investment in Africa. We commend the bank for remaining a strong pillar of support to the ethos of Pan-Africanism and South-South cooperation.
Afreximbank African Trade Center does stand as a beacon of what is possible when bold vision meets strategic collaboration. The bold vision is Mr. President's. The bold vision is from Professor Benedict Orama, and a strategic collaboration is by the rest of us, government and private sector.
This is what we need, especially in today's global world. We see what's happening in the world, but we need to trade amongst ourselves so that we can create employment for our people so that we can harness and also mine and process the raw material that we have in Africa and use a wider Africa market. It's a huge market and purchasing power is rising gradually, but we don't trade amongst ourselves. We all say it, but this is not giving life to it, giving power to it so that through platforms like this that we enable to create knowledge and train our people and also bring our people together, we are now starting the journey. And that is complementary to what the AFCTA is also about.
African data belongs to Africans, and we should own them and we should be able to represent them in the way that benefits the continent. So that's absolutely correct. And talking about partnerships with Afreximbank, we run several programs with them. We are market makers on the ATG. We're agents on the Pan-African Platform Settlements. That's the PAPS. We're also agents of theirs on Mansa, the KYC due diligence platform. We also have a factoring trade line with them that they acceded to us a few years ago.
The chief host of today, President of Afreximbank, takes the stage, acknowledging the 41-month journey and collaborations that birthed the Abuja AATC, while reeling out the timelines for other African trade centers and prospects of other initiatives of the bank in Nigeria, such as the African Medical Center of Excellence.
The Abuja AATC is the first of several AATC being developed, as just mentioned. It will be the first Afreximbank-owned Afreximbank Africa Trade Center. We expect that others will rise through a franchise scheme, and we thank the people and government of Malawi for already beginning to explore that franchise. But in August, we expect to open AATC Harare. Deputy Minister, I hope will be there. Okay. And in 2026, thereabout, we expect to open the AATC in Kampala. In a few months, we will break ground for AATC Cairo and AATC Yaoundé and others. So step by step, Afreximbank Africa Trade Center would rise into the blue skies across Africa and Barbados in the Caribbean. We hope that the hand of partnership extended to us by the government of Switzerland will mean that we will also soon have an Africa Trade Center rise in Europe.
Professor Orama highlights the significance of Afreximbank's forthcoming annual meeting in June this year, his last outing as president.
The annual meeting should be my last as president of the bank. present a unique opportunity for us to reflect on the 32-year journey of the bank and also my 10-year journey as its president. I see also the opportunity to contribute to shaping the next decades of the bank.
More spotlight falls on the integration between the Abuja and Abidjan trade centers as link bridges between Francophone and Anglophone West Africa, as well as the unique offers from the Innovation and SME Incubation Hub to the 4-star 148-bedroom Onomo Alir Hotel.
This facility comprises a hotel, an office block, exhibition center, a conference center. If you look at the office block, we're almost done. It's fully lent. So it will be operating at full capacity. But we have people who will be providing different services here. And it will be fully operational before the end of the year. Because the need is there, has been there for a long period of time. We work with financial institutions. We work with people who provide capacity building. We work with people who provide LC confirmations. So the African Export-Import Bank is a partnership organization itself, partnership between government and the private sector, Africans and non-Africans. So we understand partnership.
Onomo Hotels, they are a Pan-African brands. And here in Abuja, and in Nigeria, we are managing the hotel as under the brand Onomo Allure. This is a premium and upscale brands. And this is our second one because we have this first one in Abidjan, but we have the pleasure to have the second one here in Abuja. And Onomo Hotels or Onomo Allure Abuja, it's where you can have the African culture blended with the international standards. And we are offering 148 rooms with 20 suites. And in those suites, we have a larger suite. We call it Allure, with a view of the city, magnificent city. And we have more than 100 standard rooms with all-day dining and then fine dining, banquet hall. We have a gymnasium and 3 conference rooms.
Activities wind to a close over here with an expectation that Afreximbank's African trade centers will act as an interconnection of trade and investment flows here on the African continent and also boost the sort of transactions we'll see between Africa and then the Caribbean region. Well, this brings us to the end of this highlight on the commissioning of the Abuja Afreximbank African Trade Center in Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I'm David Alabi. Bye for now.